vaping devices. Thank you.
So this is day one post-op of my hair transplant I did in Turkey yesterday. I started doing research on hair transplant I think nearly 9 months ago, when one of my mates from the gym, he had his done from Istanbul, and few of his mates got them done as well, because I always wanted to look into hair transplant but never had that push. But when I saw him go for it, I asked him, like, give me some names, the clinics he went to, the doctors and everything. So he gave me the name. So I started researching, I started reading about it, and as usual, when you start to do some research, go into the rabbit hole of Googling, you start to find a lot of information. For example, I started to find hair forums on Facebook and hair restoration website. So I started to look into it. The next 2 months, I picked a few names. By the way, when I started to do some research, I've read a lot of guys talking about finasteride and minoxidil, and the generic dosage of finasteride everybody was talking about, and I could see a lot of pictures that has got very similar baldness that I had back in like last year. So I started to go on the medication of using finasteride 1 milligram 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and minoxidil 5% 1 ml in the morning, just in my in the receding area. So I've started to lose my hair I think around 7 years ago, when I just finished uni. I started to see thinning, but because I got so busy with work and everything, life, I never really looked into it. But I had the thought of doing hair transplant at the back of my head, but I needed that push. So after I started, so I've been on medication just over 8 months now, the finasteride and minoxidil, but I stopped taking minoxidil a week before the surgery. But I'm still having finasteride 3 days a week. So I didn't change the dosage from 3 days to every day, even though I was a hyper responder, because I've taken some pictures just before starting the medication, the day before starting the medication, and I've taken pictures 4 months after being on the medication, and I could see a significant change, especially in my crown area. The crown area was a lot covered than before, and I could really get skin fade, proper skin fade. So back to the research. So after looking into the hair restoration forum, I picked two doctors, Dr. Yaman and Dr. Alan Kaya. But at the end of the day, I decided to go with Dr. Kaya, because I have met two individuals personally who went there back in England, and one of them is from Manchester, because I'm from Manchester, and I've seen their before and after picture, and it was brilliant. So I've done some research on Dr. Kaya. He has been doing it for the last 13 years, and he's got his own clinic, a private clinic with a small team, and they only do 2 surgeries a day. Typically, when you see those big names like Vera Clinic or Smile Clinic or Cosmetica, or one of the most popular one is Asli Tajan and Harmist, they are Longevita. I mean, Longevita is not actual. They're like a middleman anyway. I'm not going to talk about them. Most of them are hair mills anyway. The promoting marketing is very good. That's why the people are attracted to them at the end of the day. And this is what I've learned looking into the forums, that you do not want to go to a hair mill at the end of the day, because they're doing at least 8, 10 to 20, 25. I've heard that like there's some clinics or hospitals that are doing like 20, 25 surgeries a day, hair transplants a day. So my question is, how many doctors do you actually have? Are they real doctors or not? And what is the retention rate of these technicians that you have? It must be that good. So they are rotating people. So what are the chances that I will get the best technicians for my surgery? So one of those reasons I never went for the Cosmetica or ViraClean. Not that people didn't have good results. I've seen some good results, but I would rather have a peace of mind. I've heard some good things about Dr. Asia in Cosmetica, but still, that's a hair mill. They do like 10 to 12 transplants a day. I'm not into that. I'm gonna see results. I'm gonna see proof in the pudding. Like, are you an actual doctor? What's your retention rate with about your technicians? You know, how many surgeries you actually do every day. But that was very eye-opening for me. So before I went to see the doctor, I had so when Marla, the lady, she booked the appointment to see the doctor, I started to grow my hair. So I didn't cut my hair for 4 months. I was still in medication, but I didn't cut my hair for 4 months, and I let it grow out as much as possible so that the doctor can see it properly when I see him in November. So he investigated with a magnifying glass, and he said I have 3 strands for each graft, so which was a good news, so we can get good density. And he said that we can harvest around 5,000 graft homogeneously without overgrafting from your donor area. There are some baby hairs, but these are the signs of the male pattern balding that will happen in the next 12 to 15 years of your life, which you can't avoid. And this is why you need to be on finasteride for a year, and then microneedling, the derma roller, once a month. And then I booked a flight in December, and the date was set for the 24th of February. So I flew out from Manchester to Istanbul on the 24th. The surgery was on the 23rd. The surgery was on the 24th. So a week before, they gave me all instructions in a spreadsheet that what I need to do, what I don't need to do, cut out all the coffee, caffeine, pre-workout, and any multivitamins I take, any blood thinners, ibuprofen. Paracetamol is okay, but ibuprofen and all the other supplements, cut it out 3 days before. Minoxidil a week before, cut it out, which I've done. So on the day of the surgery, so I arrived on the 23rd very late because the flight from Manchester to Istanbul is 4 hours. It's not the most pleasant flight at the end of the day. And then the transfer picked me up at 8:15 in the morning, and I went there. I did the payment. I did a £200 deposit before, so I took cash with me, £1,700, which I gave, and I signed the documents. And then the technicians started to come. They introduced themselves to me, and then I changed. I got undressed, and it changed to that thingy, the hospital thingy. I don't know the name of them, but then they started to take my blood from the arm to do some blood testing to check if I got HIV or hepatitis and any other thing, and also for the PRP treatment that they will do just after the transplant is finished in the crown area. One PRP treatment. So while the blood was being drawn, the doctor came and he said hi to me, and then we went to the design room where we draw the hairline. So we spent about nearly half an hour with the doctor, Dr. Kaya, and he was drawing. He had this paper ruler they used to draw the hairline from because I got my temple done as well. So he measured from the eyebrows, the height and everything. Then I was raising my eyebrows to see, and the hairline and all that. He was already familiar with my hairline because he drew it back in November, so he already had a bit of an idea what I was expecting. So my goal was to get a new hairline, temple done, because this part of the temple is thin. Like when I grew my hair out for 4.5 months, you can tell all the hairs are growing here, but there's a bit of a lacking going on both sides. So new hairline and as much density as possible and go back. And if you can do the crown, fine, I'm not bothered about that. I can come back in 2 or 3 years time to get a top up in the crown, because remember I told you I am a hyper responder with the finasteride and minoxidil, and my crown was working really nicely, looking really good after 4 months. So I'm on 8 months on the medication. So the doctor did the hairline and I was happy with it. They took some pictures and then we started to get with the first phase. The doctor told me the routine, what will be the phases in the transplant, which is you have to face down, which is the most uncomfortable part, and they will take the grafts from the donor area. Then he will come and put the insertion as well, and then they will put the grafts back, and that's the longest period that takes during the span of the transplant. So we went to the room and they shaved my hair and they gave me a pill to relax me, to calm me down, and then I lay down with the face on the floor, and they started. Now here comes the anesthesia part where most of the people, a lot of people get scared. Let's talk about that. So they started with the machine. They rotate and then they punch it at the back of your head in the donor area, and it's the head nurse and the other technician, the girls. So the head nurse before I talk about the anesthesia, is like I mentioned previously, the technicians has to be very good. Dr. Kaya's head nurse has been with him over 10 years. Her name was Bebo, and she's been with him for the last 10 years. And the other girl, he's been with him in his clinic for, I think she mentioned 4 years. So the retention rate is very, very good. And that was on a Saturday. So yesterday was Saturday, and I was the only patient. So all the focus was on me. So I was feeling they took really good care of me. But all the focus on me, all the technicians were there, and Dr. Kaya was there just for me to do my search because I was the only patient that day. So going back to the anesthesia, sorry, I can't say the word properly, but yeah. Anyway, so the head nurse started to put the machine in my donor area, and on a scale, it's 2 out of 10, the pain level. It's not that bad. I have a high pain threshold, and it's not that bad. It's like somebody's like poking you on the head like this, and you get used to it after like 3 or 4 times. And she did it like 12 or 15 times. I can't remember. It's in the donor area, but that machine is a precursor for the actual needle anesthesia, the local anesthesia they're gonna put. Now, after they've done the machine for like 12 or 15 times, now the head nurse, she started to inject. And she was asking me like, are you in pain? Are you okay? Are you okay? And the first 2 needles, I felt it a bit pain. It's when they inject the serum or the anesthesia in your skin, in your skull. That's the point. Like it's like goes in. That's the painful part. But for me, I would say that was like 4 out of 10, and I got used to it after like after the second time, and she did it for like 8 times. I can't remember actually, the local anesthesia. And Marla, the lady, she was next to me. She was talking to me, and that really helped. That really, really helped. She was saying, Hassan, don't worry, you were very near. You're doing really good. And she was talking to me. I was talking to her, and it kept my mind of the needles, so that really helped actually. So If you are, got anxiety for the needle, just make sure that just ask the representative that, hey, just talk to me, like, so that do something to keep your mind off the needle, So after everything was done, after the anesthesia was finished, the head nurse started to poke and ask me, like, do you feel pain here, do you feel pain here, do you feel pain here? And I said, no, all good, yeah. So it felt like melted wax at the back of your head. But when they started to do the grafting, to take the graft out with that machine, it felt like somebody, like, she's trimming your hair, like zzz, 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 like every 1 or 2 seconds. So the head nurse was doing that, like taking the grafts out, like zzz, zzz, zzz. So I can hear the sound, but I couldn't feel anything because I was numb. And the other technician, that girl, was then taking the graft out as well. So that took about two hours, and they managed to take out 5,250 grafts homogeneously, equally, from the back and the side. And then the doctor came, and the doctor did mention that facing down is the most uncomfortable bit, and it was quite uncomfortable, especially when the head nurse told me to turn my head so that they can take the grafts on the side. My face was all red because it was not really pleasant. It was not that pleasant, to be honest. So to be honest, that was more painful than the anesthesia injections for me. So the doctor came, and I was facing up, and then he started to put the insertion with the FUE pencil, Sapphire FUE pen, or pencil, whatever you call it. They call it pen. And then that was the most smooth sailing phase. Like, it took about like 1 hour 45 minutes, so nearly 1 hour 45 minutes around that time, because me and the doctor, we were chatting about history. He's very big into history, so we were talking about the Ottoman Empire, the Romans, and everything. He was talking about the sons of Osman, if you know Osman Ghazi, and I'm into history and traveling, and he's also into traveling as well, and we are going back and forth about our travel history and our experience and everything, and recommendations, and time flew very, very quickly. Then we had a bit of a lunch break for half an hour. So for the lunch, they gave me rice, like fried rice, and beef curry, and some dessert, some chocolate, and a vegetable soup, and a drink. And I was finished eating by like 15 minutes. I said, let's go, I'm ready. And the head nurse, she was no BS. Like, she was happy, like, okay, let's go. It's very, very professional. You can tell she has got experience because she knew exactly what's coming and everything. Then the longest phase, which is implanting the grafts on your recipient area, which took about exactly 3 hours 25 minutes. And that's exactly what the doctor told me, because when the doctor was putting the insertion, one of the lady was counting on her phone. She was counting the number of holes he was making, and he made 5,250 holes spread across all over. And I asked the doctor, how long will it take? Do you think, like, 3 hours 20 minutes, given 5,250? And it took exactly 3 hours and 25 minutes. So he was like 5 minutes off the mark. So we had a bit of break in between, because I had to go to the toilet, and the nurse, they wanted a bit of break. The head nurse said, let's take a break for 5 minutes to stretch out a little bit, because it's a long process. It's a 3-hour process, 3.5 hours process. So they took a break, and then after everything was done, and they were spraying the saline solution like every few minutes. And to be honest, those 3 hours went by very quickly, because once again I was talking, because I'm a very big talker. I like to talk. I like to talk to people and like know their history, family, food, culture, and everything. And the head nurse and the technician, they were asking me questions, and I was asking them questions, and back and forth conversation. And time flew very quickly. 3 hours was not that long. We were talking about Turkish music and everything, and what I like, what they like, and everything. Football, spoke about football. Just some chit chat conversation at the end of the day. It doesn't mean that they were not focused. They were focused, trust me, because we can tell they were doing their job, and time to time they're asking me, Mr. Sir, do you feel pain now? Do you feel pain? Let me know, because they can tell if you are in pain, if the blood is coming out. And I could say, yeah, a bit of pain here, and then they put the anesthesia a bit, and then numb me right away. So once the surgery was done, I said thank you to everybody, and one of the representatives, who greeted me in the morning and who sorted the payment out for me, he gave me the goodie bag from the clinic with the medication. So I got paracetamol, the antibiotic, and the anti-swelling medication, and a guide. Here we have a guide, as you can see, Dr. Kaya, and it's got all the guides that you need to do from day 1 to the next 12 months, and how to wash, what to do, what not to do, and everything is there. So today was chill out day, doing nothing whatsoever. It's a very sunny day today, so I didn't go out. I went out to get some kebab around like 2 o'clock when it was cloudy. The sun was not there, so I went there. So it's like the kebab shop is like 2 minutes walk from the hotel. So I got some kebab, I had some food. I'm gonna go out now. It's just after Maghrib time. I'm gonna go out again and get some kebab for dinner and then go to bed. So tomorrow they're gonna pick me up around 11 o'clock and do the wash. So I still got the bandage on me in the donor area, as you can see. Reached out to Dr. Kaya in August last year, and they gave me the package. They gave me all the details, what will be the overall package and what will be included. So they quoted me around £1,900, maximum graft, depending on the situation of your donor area, and taken homogeneously, equally distributed for 3 nights, hotel and a VIP transplant, all that. So I had a good chat with the representative. Her name was Maral. She was very good with the communication, and at one point I was thinking about not going with the surgery and go with the medication, maybe a year and a half more than thinking about surgery. Then she said, let's talk face to face, and I had a chat with her via WhatsApp video, and I had a chat with her nearly for 30-35 minutes, and she explained to me, I had a few questions, and she answered very clearly with no hesitation. And she suggested, like, if you can come see the doctor in person. And I was actually planning on going to Turkey in November. So this video call was around mid-August, and I told her, like, hey, so if that's the case, then I'm coming to Turkey for my holiday. I'll come and see you. And she booked it. She scheduled a meeting with Dr. Kaya, and then in November I went there and I had a consultation, not proper consultation like before the surgery, but face-to-face chat, like a Q&A type thing. And he was asking me questions and I was asking him questions, and he was drawing the hairline and what I like, what I didn't like about the hairline and everything. So that was a very, very good sign that he was a proper professional doctor, because he was asking me questions about my history, my dietary, like my lifestyle and everything, my family history. What's the balding in your family? Like, everyone in my family is bald. They all go male pattern baldness, the usual thing. So, and he was very honest with me as well, like saying, Hassan, you're old. Sorry, you're young. You're still very young. I'm 30 years old, and you're still very young. And the male pattern baldness will carry on, the natural male pattern baldness will carry on till your early to mid 40s. He was honest with me like that, and he said you will lose a bit of density in the next 5 to 6 years. So you might want to come back, depending on you. You might want to come back for a top up. So I didn't know that. So I didn't really know that because the hair forum doesn't talk about that. But the doctor was honest with me, like this is not the end. Like there's still balding to happen, the natural balding, the male pattern hair loss. So this was my experience. I will try my best to do more videos in the future, maybe 7 days after, 14 days, a month, and then yeah, go from there.